Hey guys, what's up? It's Otis with Max Packs, and I am now putting together this video. This is, let me see, it's almost 2 a.m. into the 17th of October, and I'm so bothered by what ALT has done again. They have again screwed up. They have again cost people a lot of money. They have again put out a problematic auction software that they know has problems, and they're making money left and right at your expense. Watch what I mean when I say this. So this is tonight's auction. Now, let me preface this with this. I'm banned on ALT, but I have a lot of friends that clearly they won't sell on ALT because ALT sucks when it comes to selling, and you're going to find out why. But they'll buy all day long, and they have offered to allow me to record their sessions, and I'll edit their information out, right? I'll remove it so they don't get banned like I did for telling ALT that they suck. But so what I've done here is I have cropped everything out so the person who owns this account doesn't get in trouble. And I have, thank them for the video, and now I have edited the video so that all you can see is what they're doing and the problem that comes from this. So here's what happens. Right now you can see that we're in extended bidding. This means it's after 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, which means that bidding increments are now at 10-second intervals, right? So no matter what you're doing, if you're bidding on a $500,000 card or you're bidding on a $1 card, no matter what you're bidding on, if you click that button and bid, the clock starts over at 10 seconds for all the cards. It's a dumbass way of doing an auction. ALT does it for whatever stupid reason, I have no idea, but clearly given how bad their software is running and how poorly they're running their company, it's probably a lack of intelligence more than anything else that causes them to do that. But hey, there's room for stupid people in the world. I can't help that. But watch what happens here. So this auction has 7 seconds left, and this guy is getting ready to bid on this card. So here's what happens. He clicks $743. Okay, now watch the clock. That's what this text is going to say. Watch the clock. Okay, now he clicks it, and it goes. You see how it goes to 10 seconds, right? You can see that at the top of the corner, right? Okay, now I'm going to put another clock on the bottom that actually keeps track of the actual seconds. So watch this. Okay, there's my clock right there, and that 00 is 10 seconds because it's going to go to 9. So watch. They're both at 9. Okay, now watch. They're both at 8. Okay, now they're both. Okay, what happened there? You see what happened? That clock, the auction clock, went to 3 seconds. Now, how the hell did the clock drop, right, from 8 seconds to 3 seconds? It makes no sense, but this is a huge problem with their auction because what happens is this actually will end the auction early, and people who are selling will get screwed. Tonight in particular, this auction ended twice that I could keep track of where it said auction ended and it said processing, and then it started back up, okay? But let's watch. So right now we just went from 8 seconds to 3 seconds. You can see our real clock below. So here it goes, okay? And now it's at 2, now it's at 1, and watch what happens. It goes to 0, and then it says processing. Now, ALT auctions say processing when the auction is finished. It means it's processing the bids. This has happened multiple times tonight. Watch what happens next though. Very strange, right? Check this out. Boom. Kicks back up to 7 seconds. It doesn't make any sense. This is just some asshat software that they have, but watch. Okay, now we're at 7, 6. Watch this. Okay, watch the bottom clock and top clock. Now, keep in mind, I'm trying to get mine in line with theirs, but it won't make a difference. Watch. 5 seconds is left on the auction, and then 1 second. Now, how the hell did we go from 5 seconds to 1 second? And if you watch the bottom clock, okay, look at this. 5 seconds. Boom, we go to 4 down here, and we go to 1 up there, okay? Crazy shit, makes no sense at all, right? So now we have no idea what's going on, but here's what happens. Pay attention. We're supposed to still have time here because look, watch this. You see that button right there? That button, he clicked 843, and he clicked the bid button. That was supposed to go to 10 seconds now, right? This should have started the auction back up to 10 seconds, but it didn't. So here's what happens. Boom. It goes to 1 second, goes to 0 seconds, right? And that's the end of it. The auction's over. Look at this. Winning price, done. Auction is over, guys. What should have been extended, this auction ended again, a complete failure, a complete screw up on ALT's part that cost people. And I know these people. I know there's somebody in particular that I spoke to who is selling a card on here. And let me just tell you, that card sold for 50% of what ALT had the value, and we're talking a lot of money, guys. We're talking 5 figures, okay? So just so we're clear, the card was listed to sell for over, I don't know, let's say over $25,000, okay? Way over, okay? It didn't even make it. it barely made 50% of that, right? But the thing is there were people bidding on it because I know that there are people that were going after it. Just like this guy was going after this one. And the bids didn't go. I don't even know what happened to this card, but I know that the person who was bidding on this didn't win it because his bid never went through. And so that auction ended, guys. So let me explain to you what that means, right? Not only is Alt screwing up with their software, and it sucks so bad. If you remember correctly, last year, almost at exactly this time, as a matter of fact, it was September 18th, and now it's October 16th, but it was the exact amount of Thursdays, right? Last month, they had to apologize and say it was a glitch. And then when I bet them 10 grand, I offered them 10 grand. I said, I'm putting up 10 grand, it says you're lying. They sent me a cease and desist letter and said I was whatever. And I'm like, you're full of shit, guys. You're full of shit. You know it. I know it. I've been programming for almost 40 years. I told you guys that last year. I told you guys that at the beginning of this year, that I caught y'all and your software putting fake bids in for people, making false bids. Then you were using a database record keeper that was wrong, completely wrong. I've proven it to you guys. I bet you $2.3 million worth of my vaulted cards that were in your vault that you guys were wrong. And what'd you do? You closed my account. You didn't take me up on the bet. You closed my account like a bunch of cowards. But here's the problem. Now you're screwing up big time. Because here's what happens, guys. For those of you that don't know, let me explain to you what happens. Okay? Look at Alt's numbers. I'm putting them in comparison. I'm not saying Golden is by all means anything great, but my God, it's not hard to beat Alt in this game, right? So here's the deal. Let's look at what's driving Alt. Okay. Alt is selling, now keep in mind, these are reports that I've generated based on data that I monitor, okay? And I do monitor them. I monitor Alt as much as I can. And tough shit, guys, that's what you've got because I'm suing you. I'm monitoring you because I know you're full of crap, right? So here's the deal. These are PSA and Beckett graded cards. That's all I'm monitoring right now. And I'm monitoring them on different sites because I buy cards too. So of the cards that I'm monitoring, and they all have the same criteria, here's what we have. Alt on October 9th had 3,325 cards that matched the criteria. Golden had 359, okay? The total bids placed for Alt was 33,200. The total bids placed for Golden was 8,034, which means Alt had an average of almost 10 bids per item. Golden had more than double that, okay? The median bids was 8 for Alt. Golden had almost triple that, okay? Now let's look at the fun part. Look at the money here. This is all based on Alt's base fees, right? Okay, so I mean, there's going to be a give or take here, but they're all factored the same, so there's no bias here, okay? Check this out. The amount of items that sold under Alt's their own valuation, 71%. 2,370. So this is where we start calculating losses, right? So we assume that if Alt's value is supposed to be the threshold, then we could look and say here their auctions underperform. 2,370 cards sold below what Alt said they were worth. Now look at Golden's using Alt's values. Look at Golden's items, 41%, okay, versus 71%. That's huge, guys. That's massive. But let's keep going. So look at Alt when they brag, right? Because Alt put out this thing that said, hey, we set new records, 500 something new records. Okay, so let's be clear. The items that sold over, and we're looking at the last sale, right? So we're not, forget their net anymore or their values. Let's look at the recent sale comparisons. The items that sold higher than the most recent sale were 528 items. Okay, now they had 540, but keep in mind I'm only doing PSA and Beckett, and I'm doing a very select of those, right? So big deal. Sounds like a lot, except it's only 16%. Now look at Golden. Okay, Golden's was pretty much almost double that at 30%. Okay, so Golden outperformed Alt here. They outperformed Alt in their bids, right? But here's where it gets funny. Look how much money Alt makes, okay? Alt makes about almost $450,000, okay? And look how much, and this is a base tier, but it's based on Alt's numbers. Golden, in the same example, would make about $32,000, okay? Now, again, these are different a little bit. So just keep in mind that what you're making at Golden may be a little bit more because they have a 22% versus a 20, and I don't know how they're doing their bases. But the fact of the matter is this. I'm going to publish this entire report. It's about 6 pages long. The amount of losses taken by people is disgusting, okay? But here's what Alt does. Alt is bragging. Oh my God, look at these cards sold for 300,000. Okay, yes. So here's what Alt does. They've got these like top 10 cards or whatever, and that's where their attention is. Those people are making money. You know who's not making money? Everybody else, okay? And if you want to look at it, you can look at it this way. Based on Alt's valuations, 2,370 cards, and I put these as people. Assume one person owns one card. 2,370 people or 70 cards sold below their value, okay? Only 955 sold above. That's 30%, okay? Alt's, Golden's, 60% almost, double, okay? They're 58.8. I'm rounding it up because I can. But when you start looking at the bigger data in this report, it's fucking brutal, okay? Because it's, ironically, Alt is making as much as everybody else is losing. That's the disgusting part about it. Win or lose, Alt's making money. They don't give a shit. Before Alt was doing this, they were doing 1,000 cards a week. Okay, sometimes less than that, 900 a week. And they actually were doing okay. Now they're so money hungry and they're chasing the dollar so much, right? They don't care. Doesn't seem like they care. They're averaging 10 bids max. They're averaging 10 bids, and Golden is averaging 22 on the same night. Okay, cool. Let's go to this. Let's go to this weekend, okay? So, I mean, tonight. Now, this is the closest I get to Golden's report because this is done during their extended bidding time, but this is not carrying over after the first 20 minutes of extended bidding. So their numbers are going to be higher, but let's look at it. Tonight, Alt did 3,007 cards that fit the criteria. Golden did 372. Look at the bids. Alt averaged the median bids with 6 bids. Do you know how pathetic you have to be to get 6 bids? Look at Golden. 19 bids on the median. Look at their average. 21 bids. Look at Alt. Barely making 9. You hadn't even hit 9. Okay? We're almost now at 3 times the amount, right? Because look, the median bids is 3 times, it's over 3 times the amount. Golden is beating the shit out of Alt in terms of people's participation and bids on cards. Flat out, okay? Flat out. But now let's get down to the numbers. Look at Alt's revenue again. 412,000, again, based on their base, and it could fluctuate a little bit, but I'm using the same criteria for both. Look at Golden's, 30,000 on those cards if it was using the same as Alt's. Check out the valuation. The amount of cards that sold under what Alt valued them at, 2,231, almost 75%. Almost 3/4 of the cards sold below Alt's valuation. Look at Golden's. If you use Alt's valuation for Golden, 50%. They're performing 25% better just on that alone. Okay? Now, let's look at performing against recent sales. Alt had 420 cards that performed over recent sales. That's 14%, guys. Okay? And if you look right there, you had 1,507, or 50% of the items sell below recent sales. And then you had 1,060 items that did not have a recent sale. And keep in mind that when I say recent sale, my threshold is 6 months. Okay? Now let's go to Golden. Golden had 31.2, almost half of compared percentage-wise. So they're at 31.2 and Alt is at 50.1. So yes, it's not exactly half, but it's damn close. Okay? And then look at how many sold. Like I said, 49% over. And then if you look at recent sales, they had 22% over versus 14% from Alt. Guys, at the end of the day, here's what's happening, right? That auction ended terribly. There's a glitch. There's a problem. Alt sucks at their software. Their software sucks. It should never be run. It should never be run. I'll put money on it. I've put money on it up to a value of $2.3 million. I recently just published that I would do $100,000, and if they don't want it, I'll donate it to a charity of theirs. The fact of the matter is this. Alt's full of shit. Now they're just money hungry. And for those of you that are taking advances for them, I'm warning you, stop doing it. Stop. Because first of all, read the terms of service. You're so screwed when you take an advance from Alt, it's disgusting. Not only that, they'll just throw your card in an auction They're not doing any due diligence on it. They're not doing anything. You know how I know that? Because one of the cards tonight was a LeBron James card, okay? A 1/1 Superfractor auto card, right? And Alt did not even bother to make sure that it's a 1/1, but they had a Beckett grade and a PSA grade on there. Now, why the hell would you do that? One's a 9, one's a 10. You just screwed the value of that card, but you put it that it was worth $30,000. You're full of shit. And you know how much it sold for? $13,000 before fees. How pathetic are you guys? But they gave an advance on it. And ironically, if you ever look at Alt's advances, and if you've ever gotten one, most of the time, those cards sell right at that amount. Okay? That's pathetic. For the guy that owns that LeBron, I'm going to tell you flat out. I had 2 people that I knew of that were going to bid on it, but the auction ended, and their bid didn't go through. That's how bad it is. Okay? So, guys, I know this is kind of a longer video, but I think it's time that everybody starts holding Alt accountable. They have just received $40 million in funding. They boasted all about, oh my God, we're growing. Oh my God, no, you're not. You guys are terrible. I'm suing you. I believe you're committing fraud. I have no doubt you're defrauding people because you're using software, you're putting fake bids in for them, you know about it, you're demanding they pay you anyway on it. Now you've got auctions that are ending early. Last month you lied and said it was a glitch, and then your lawyer told me in a cease and desist letter that it was because of Stripe. I'm like, the payment system has nothing to do with your auction ending early, but your own lawyer can't even tell the truth. None of you people at your company can tell the truth. So I tell you what, I'll end it like this. I offered you guys $10,000 last time to prove that you had a glitch. Fair enough. I'm going to up it, okay? But this time, instead of giving it to you, I'll give it to charity again. Okay? So now I'll make it $20,000. $20,000 to explain the glitch last month. I'd love to, I want to see it. I want to see it, right? Because you said it stopped people from being able to bid. Well, that auction ended at about 10:01. Today's auction ended at 10:04. Tell me if you had a glitch this time, guys. You cost people a ton of money. And the only thing I can tell you consistent with Alt is they keep making money and it's being made off of you guys. And I'm telling you right now, stop. I am telling you guys, Alt is taking money. They are abusing the system. Their auctions aren't functioning properly. They're hyping up these ridiculous Alt valuations. And then they can't meet it. And the worst part is their bids per card are dropping, and they are going each week. They are dropping more and more. But if you notice, Alt is increasing the number of items. And here's how it will affect you at the end of the day. Ready? Look at this card. This is what sold on Alt, okay, on September 25th. Check that out. That is the Gunnar Henderson 1010. This is what sold on Golden the same night. And that's just a 10. Now, tell me why. Why does the 1010 do that much worse than just the 10? And I'm going to tell you why. Because these people don't know how to run an auction. Their software's full of shit. And they're throwing so many cards in their auctions. Look, 3,325, 3,007. That's just PSA and Beckett graded that I'm filtering out. And this is the result. On the same night, that card performs worse than it had performed on any of the other comps. And the worst part is, Golden outperformed them by almost 50%. Okay? So guys, pay attention to that. It's time to tell Alt they're full of shit. I'm suing them, I get it, and I'll fight them, I don't care. But I'm telling you guys as well, if you know what's good for you, don't put your cards with Alt. Don't take an advance from them. You take that advance, you're as good as done. That's my opinion, but it's based on the data that I continue to monitor. Be careful, guys, please. I'm going to put a short version of this video where I don't talk, and you're just going to see it go all the way through. And educate yourself on it. Ask me questions if you want. Confront Alt about it. Tell them you want to see the data. They won't show it to you. They will not give you their logs. I told them I wanted the logs. When they knew that I had caught them in a glitch on their software, not only did they refuse the logs, but they closed my account. Facts. Okay? And that's why I'm suing them. Because they're pathetic. Because they're cons to me. I believe they're conning the system. I believe they're ripping people off. I know that they know their software is making mistakes like this. Okay? See you guys later. Peace.